splish splash, I was taking a bath. Long about a Saturday night. Yep. Rubbed up, just relaxing in the tub.
Greetings everyone, this is Captain Strangeliffe doing a Golden Age retro review of the Submariner number 38 from 1955, just shy of the Silver Age. The three things that are interesting about this issue is, first of all, it has not one but two origins pertaining to the Submariner's wings on his ankles. And two, it is the last pre-code issue, at least according to the Overstreet Price Guide, which is a little bit misleading because Overstreet is talking about the a set of guidelines and a board of reviewers that was set up by the Comic Magazine Association of America back in 1954 that they call the Comic Code Authority, and it was officially sanctioned and approved by the Senate in 1955. But before all that happened, back in 1948, a group of publishers got together to form the Association of Comic Magazine Publishers, who put together their own set of guidelines that they called the Comics Code. And among some of those publishers was that were members was EC Comics, Marvel/Atlas, and Lev Gleason, who published most of the crime comics at the time. And their seal of approval, their Comic Code seal of approval, looked like this. I have to adjust the camera and show you this. And there we have the right there. That is the first Comic Code, 1948. Now the one that Overstreet keeps talking about is the one that was approved by the Senate in 1955, and that one is prominently displayed on this comic. That thing is just right there. And that's the one that we still see today occasionally, albeit you might have to look very hard for it because it's so tiny if it's displayed at all. It has lost its significance. But that's a story for another time. Getting back to this issue over here, Submariner number 38, the third thing that's interesting about it is the wacky dialogue. Oh, you might be wondering what this is. This is a big boy. Yes, I love myself a big boy once in a while. A big boy hamburger I'm talking about. A big boy hamburger. That's what I meant for all you wackadoodles out there. Speaking of wackadoodles, that brings me to this little clandestine figure. Yes, that's what you think it is, because a lot of the panels in here remind me of a Three Stooges short. And I'm not talking about the shorts in his pants, but the film shorts. And even the dialogue is really wacky. So I'm going to have to lay this comic book down over here in order to show you that. And then I got to move my webcam around. And this is the first time that I've done this, so you got to bear with me here a little bit while I turn this darn thing around. There we go. There's the Submariner number 38, 1955. Here's the first page. Now on the first page they have a dialogue box which gives a synopsis of the Submariner being dispossessed of his powers because he spent too much time with the surface people. But at one point it says, and this dialogue is strangely reminiscent of the Man of Steel. It says at one point, if you can read that, look at there, he possessed the strength of a diesel locomotive, the resistance and stamina of an impregnable fortress, the ability to fly through the air like a jet plane, like the ability to leap tall buildings in a single bound and fly through the air. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's a Submariner in his underwear. Anyway, the first panel over here, his cousin comes to get him, to bring him to the His Royal Majesty, and this is the first wackadoodle panel right here. I don't know if you can see that. He's bowing down and he exclaims, "Well, sire, I'm here. To what do I... No. To what am I to attribute the honor of the summonings from your Imperial Majesty?" And in the next panel, he gets a whack right in the back of the head, reminiscent of the Three Stooges. And we keep going on over here, and then he realizes that he doesn't have any powers, or he's reminded that he doesn't have any superpowers, and that they have invented a rejuvenator machine that can restore his powers. And so in the next page we have the scheming Prince Burra, who was already wanting to make sure that that doesn't happen. And so the next morning, scientists are trying to get the rejuvenator ready for Submariner to use, and they find that the instructions are missing. Well, that's another wackadoodle. They invented it, but they need instructions for it? Unbelievable. And then in the, let's see here, the next panel, Nemo knows that it's Prince Burra who stole the instructions and formula, and he gets it back from him. And they know how to make it work now, so they get him ready for it. And in this panel, he looks like a strangely reminiscent figure on a crucifix, and he's being lowered into the this machine. And then he comes back out, and lo and behold, look at the dialogue here. "Let me out of here. I want to lick the whole wide world." Bizarre dialogue. Then over here, this is very interesting. He's being shot, and the bullets are bouncing right off of him. And this panel right here reminded me of a comic book that I have, the Superman comic book, and that Superman comic book is right here. Let me show it to you. See this? This is Superman number 32 from 1945. And the cover of this looks just like this panel in here from 1955, the Submariner. Just thought that was interesting. And down here, last panel on this page, we have the Imperial Majesty exclaiming, "Fantastic, amazing, just one more thing. Now the atomic radiation has developed tiny wings in your ankles. Let's see if you can fly." So that's supposed to be the origin of his wings on his ankles. The atomic radiation caused the wings in his ankles. And his first adventure is that he finds a submarine that has just torpedoed an American cargo ship. So he goes after the submarine and finds out that it's a bunch of dirty, stinking commies. So he goes there and it puts a hole in it to sink the thing. And he notices that the people, or the creatures leaving it, are his own people. And in the next panel, we see that he lets them go. He doesn't go after them, but decides to go after the sinking ship and bring it back safely into the harbor, which he does. And he spies on the captain of that cargo ship, who takes credit for having saved the ship, you know, using his quick wit and so forth. That gets Namor mad and says, "Wait a minute, if you're going to hang orchids on yourself, you better give me a posy or two, because I'm the one that saved your ship." And then the captain starts laughing at him and making fun of him, and the Submariner gets mad, and he goes down and puts a big hole in the hull and sinks it anyway. And that's the end of the story there. He decides to go after Prince Burra later in some other adventure, and that's about all the time that I have. In the part 2 of this, I'm going to have to go into part 2, we'll see this. Wings at his feet. So thanks for tuning in, and tune in again next time for part 2. Thanks.